Have you ever wondered why, in this age of ultra-comfortable skyscrapers and advanced technology, people are becoming more and more unhappy? Why do the residents of Dubai, with its golden hotels, suffer from depression? Why do Singaporeans take massive amounts of antidepressants? And why do Hong Kongers live in apartments the size of wardrobes, yet pay for them as if they were palaces? In Moscow, people spend up to 4 hours a day stuck in traffic jams. In Mumbai, millions live in slums in the shadow of luxury skyscrapers. In Beijing, children cannot see the sun because of the smog. In New York, the rent for a one-bedroom apartment costs as much as a doctor earns in a year. It's the same everywhere. Cities where people work in windowless offices and travel on the subway without seeing the real sky for months. But there is one place where everything is different, where happiness is not measured by the size of your bank account, but by the quality of life, where traffic jams are replaced by mountain rivers and smog by the fresh air of the Himalayas. This is Bhutan, the only country in the world where happiness is enshrined in its constitution. Bhutan is a small country the size of Switzerland, located between India and China. Fewer than 1 million people live here. But they have created a unique system. Instead of tracking GDP, they measure national happiness. Television has only been available here since 1999. Bhutan was the last country on Earth without it. To this day,
there are no traffic lights in the capital. Police officers direct traffic with hand signals. When attempts were made to install traffic lights,
they lasted only a day, and residents demanded the return of the police. According to the Constitution, 60% of the country's land area must remain covered by forests. Plastic bags and tobacco are also strictly prohibited. There is not a single slaughterhouse. Bhutan is the only carbon-negative country in the world. Every tourist pays $200 a day just to be in the country. The result? No crowds and unspoiled nature. In Bhutanese schools, children learn not only mathematics and physics, but also meditation, basic ecology, and traditional crafts. In hospitals, modern medicine is practiced alongside traditional Tibetan healing arts. In government offices, officials begin their day by praying for the well-being of the people. Bhutan is a constitutional monarchy, but King Jigme Khesar Namgyel Wangchuck voluntarily limited his power by introducing democracy in 2008. He was only 28 years old when he ascended the throne and immediately declared, "Democracy is more important than monarchy." This had never happened before in history. On the contrary, in most countries, leaders try by all means possible to increase their influence and remain in office longer. Bhutanese have a long tradition. If you are offered food, politely decline it twice by saying "mesho mesho" and covering your mouth with your hand. Except only the third time. The national dish is amadachi, a chili stew with cheese. Bhutanese love spicy food and often drink salty tea with yak butter. The national sport is archery, but not in the traditional sense. The target is set 145 meters away, twice the distance at the Olympics. Athletes wear colorful traditional costumes and turn competitions into veritable celebrations of song and dance. Bhutan has one of the lowest crime rates in the world, and corruption is virtually non-existent. Life expectancy has increased from 43 years in 1960 to 71 years today. Infant mortality has fallen tenfold. Literacy has risen from 24% to 97%. But even in this paradise, a sudden crisis has struck, threatening the very existence of this unique civilization. Young Bhutanese have begun to leave the country. A programmer in the capital earned $300 a month, while his colleague in neighboring India earned $3,000. A doctor earned less than a street cleaner in an American hospital. The architect could only design traditional houses made of wood and built stone, but he dreamed of bridges, skyscrapers, and professional advancement. In just 5 years, more than 100,000 people left the country, a staggering number for a population of less than 1 million. In some mountainous areas, only the elderly and children remained. Schools closed, hospitals stood empty, and ancient fields were overgrown with weeds. Particularly painful was the fact that the most educated people were leaving the country. Bhutan had spent millions educating its youth in the world's best universities, and they never returned. King Jigme realized that if nothing drastic was done, within a generation, nothing of Bhutan's splendor would remain. The ancient culture would be dissolved by globalization. The unique ecosystem would be abandoned, and the philosophy of happiness would be found only in museums. And so, in December 2023, on his 44th birthday, the king announced a project that would change everything. In the south of the country, in the Gelephu Valley on the border with India, construction has begun on Wisdom City, a completely new kind of megalopolis. The project has been supported by Nobel laureates Joseph Stiglitz and Michael Spence, renowned architect Bjarke Ingels, and even Snapchat CEO Ivan Spiegel. But how can Bhutan expect to build a true city of happiness when neither Singapore, with its technology, nor Dubai, with its billions, have been able to do so? Their similar projects have failed miserably. Gelephu is not another shining mirage like the cities in the deserts of the Persian Gulf. It is not Dubai, with its artificial islands and enslaved migrant workers. It is not Singapore, with its sterile efficiency. It is something entirely new. A city built not to display wealth, but to bring people genuine happiness. Imagine a city the size of Hong Kong, 2,500 square kilometers, but without one skyscraper, where the tallest buildings are no more than 6 stories high, so as not to disturb the harmony of the mountainous landscape. Where there are living bridges instead of glass towers with temples, hospitals, and an international airport. Where a clear river flows through the heart of the city. This philosophy is radically different from anything we have seen before. While Dubai demonstrates its dominance over nature with the 828-meter-tall Burj Khalifa, Bhutan is building bridges no higher than 15 meters, emphasizing the beauty of rivers and valleys. While Singapore creates artificial gardens in glass domes that consume enormous amounts of energy, Bhutan is integrating real forests into the urban environment. Why do so many people dream of moving to Gelephu? In Dubai, you can buy a Lamborghini for $500,000, but you will spend 3 hours in traffic jams in 50-degree heat. In Monaco, you can buy a $10 million yacht, but you will live in a tiny apartment with no garden, surrounded by concrete and car exhaust. In Gelephu, your children will wake up every morning to the singing of real birds, not the roar of engines. They will walk through green fields and parks on their way to school, not on noisy, dirty highways. They will breathe air that doesn't need filtering. They will see real stars in the night sky. Isn't that good? And then there's the even more amazing fact. It's already a reality. Thousands of people are working at a huge construction site in Bhutan. They are joined every day by volunteers, farmers, officials, students, and monks. Even the king himself has come here several times with his children to help with the construction. In March 2024, production of the first sections of the bridge began. In June, the foundation for the airport was completed. Work on utility networks began in September. Construction of residential neighborhoods began in December. The scale of this extraordinary project impresses even experienced Chinese developers. The city will consist of 11 residential areas, blending organically into the landscape between 35 rivers and streams. The renowned architecture firm BIG, led by Bjarke Ingels, created a design inspired by traditional Bhutanese dzongs, fortified monasteries. Take the international airport, for example. In Dubai, it's a massive shopping mall with runways where travelers spend their money in countless shops. In Tokyo, it's a high-tech machine with robots but no soul. However, in Gelephu, the airport was built like a living garden. Upon entering, you don't see sterile runways, but real, ancient trees growing out of the ground. Sunlight streams through a transparent roof, illuminating courtyards with mountain streams where you can meditate while waiting for your flight. The structure is completely modular. If more space is needed, additional sections are simply added like building blocks. And the most remarkable thing about it? The entire airport stands on a bridge over a mountain river. Clear water flows beneath it, wild fish swim, and algae grows. Technology and nature are in absolute harmony. As the city's mayor, Dr. Lotte Charing, says, the fish in the river won't even notice an airport built over their home. The terminal is decorated with colorful wooden beams called kachin, traditional Bhutanese decorative columns. Inside, it will be adorned with live trees and courtyards where travelers can stroll among the plants. Now imagine a bridge housing a modern hospital. Patients are treated while gazing through panoramic windows at the rushing river below and the snow-capped Himalayan peaks in the distance. Doctors practice the latest Western medicine and ancient Tibetan techniques in a single room. The atmosphere itself, the sound of the water, the mountain air, and the harmony with nature allays the burden of illness. Studies show that patients recover 40% faster in such an environment than in conventional hospitals with white walls and artificial lighting. Or imagine a hydroelectric power plant that doubles as a Buddhist temple. It's the city's landmark, the Sangkosh Temple Dam. Rather than a harsh industrial structure, it's an architectural masterpiece inspired by the ancient stepwells of India and Tibet. Worshippers come here to pray and enjoy its waters, which provide spiritual energy for the soul and electricity for the city. Bjarke Ingels calls this dam a 21st century monument resembling a tiger's nest, the famous cliff-top monastery. Stepped terraces lead to the temple at the center of the structure. The turbines operate silently, preserving the serenity of the sacred space. Every element of the city under construction has been carefully designed, down to the smallest detail. The streets are covered with a permeable material made from recycled rice husks, which absorbs rainwater like a sponge. The buildings will be constructed from local wood, stone, and bamboo, which is 10 times cheaper than imported concrete and steel. The roofs will be covered with living grass, which purifies the air and regulates temperature. A system of green corridors runs throughout the city, allowing wildlife to roam freely. Asian elephants, Bengal tigers, snow leopards, and Himalayan bears can cross the area without human contact. Bhutan is home to 105 species of rhododendron, the national flower, 675 species of birds, and 200 species of mammals. All of them will find a home in and around the new city. But its most ingenious feature is the way it handles water. While other cities spend billions of dollars combating nature with concrete dams, Gelephu works with nature. Does the river overflow its banks during the rainy season? Special terraced rice fields absorb the water, prevent flooding, and provide the city with an eco-friendly environment. Rice. These fields form urban terraces that stretch from the hills down to the valley. This raises the question, if such a miracle is possible, why hasn't it been implemented in other countries? The new city's economic model is revolutionary. Instead of promising cheap labor, Bhutan focuses on quality of life. Studies show that satisfied employees are 31% more productive, achieve 37% higher sales, and work 3 times more accurately. They are also 10 times less likely to get sick and stay with a company 7 years longer. More than 70 IT companies from India, Singapore, and South Korea have expressed interest in the Gelephu project. Microsoft and Samsung are even considering establishing Asian development centers here. A programmer who commutes 4 hours in India and breathes the smog in Gelephu will live in a garden house just 5 minutes from their office, surrounded by fields and flowering gardens. Their productivity will double, their stress will disappear, and their creative potential will be fully revealed. But Gelephu isn't just a programmer's paradise. Here, teachers can teach in classrooms with panoramic windows overlooking the Himalayas, where children learn math in the morning and meditate in the school garden after lunch. Their reasonable salaries and wages enable them to live in a house with its own garden instead of renting a room in a shared apartment. The doctor will work at the bridge clinic, where the healing process itself becomes therapy for the soul. No night shifts in overcrowded wards. No fatigue from an endless influx of patients. Here, medicine is an art, not a production line. A pensioner will not spend their days in a small apartment, afraid to venture out. They will become wise mentors to young people, practicing traditional crafts and participating in festivals, in a city where old age is not a burden, but a treasure trove of experiences. And what about families with children? Imagine, your child is not playing on an asphalt playground surrounded by roads and endless exhaust fumes, but in a veritable forest under the care of trained teachers. They learn not only English and math, but also the language of nature, how trees grow, birds sing, and water flows. The road to school leads not along noisy, polluted highways, but through picturesque gardens and bamboo groves. There are no private tutors, no race for grades. Here, education is about the joy of discovery, not stress. Children grow up with physical health, emotional balance, and spiritual richness. The education system combines global best practices with Bhutanese traditions. Children learn about quantum physics and meditation, robotics and Buddhist philosophy, biotechnology and traditional medicine. The goal is to raise a generation that develops new technologies in harmony with nature. The energy system in the city of the future is unique. 100% of the electricity is generated from small hydropower plants and solar cells installed on roofs and even in window panes. This creates an energy surplus that is sold to India and ensures a steady income for the city. By 2035, Gelephu aims to become one of the largest exporters of clean energy in South Asia. The transportation system is designed to eliminate the need for private cars. From every home, work can be reached on foot in a maximum of 15 minutes through shaded alleys. For longer distances, hydrogen-powered buses and electric bicycles are available. A high-speed railway line will reduce the commute to the capital from 2 hours to 30 minutes. India has already pledged to build a railway line linking the border and the city. The healthcare system is primarily based on prevention. Fresh mountain air, a healthy diet, a stress-free life, an active lifestyle. And regular meditation will make most lifestyle diseases impossible here. Hospitals will be more like spas, with stunning mountain views where Western and Eastern medicine are integrated. Future residents will be able to participate in ancient Sechu festivals with mask dances, practice traditional archery, and learn weaving and wood carving from local masters. Open-air theaters will be built among rice terraces, and concert halls will be built in natural caves with stunning acoustics. Of course, skeptics consider this project utopian, but the results so far are impressive. Thousands of young Bhutanese working abroad have expressed interest in this amazing experience and plan to return home. All of the country's universities have launched training programs for Gelephu. Dozens of international companies are exploring the possibility of opening offices in the new city. The idea has proven effective. Representatives from Costa Rica, New Zealand, Denmark, and Finland are studying the Bhutanese experience. Mayors of major cities from London to Tokyo are studying elements of the Bhutanese model, as Paris is planning to create islands of happiness inspired by Gelephu. Amsterdam is already testing a system to measure the well-being of its residents. We don't yet have the skills to manage such complex projects alone, admits Dr. Lotte Tshering, the city's former prime minister and current governor. But we are ready to work alongside and learn from the world's best experts. And Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay stated in an interview with Time magazine, "People's happiness and well-being must be the primary goal of capitalism. We are creating a new model, a whole new system of urban development." Bhutan clearly demonstrates that progress doesn't have to mean height, speed, and bigness. Not glass skyscrapers and highways, True progress is when people live in harmony with nature, when children play in the streets without fear, when work brings joy, not exhaustion. Very soon, a new landmark will appear on the world map. Not for the rich, not for the fastest, but for those who want happiness. The City of Wisdom will open in 2029, but its influence is already spreading. Architectural firms are reconsidering their projects. Governments are beginning to realize that economic growth does not necessarily mean improved quality of life. Companies are realizing that employee happiness is the best investment. Perhaps in a generation, Gelephu will become a true paradise for anyone who wants to build their future. A destination for all who have realized that happiness can and must be built. It is not bought, it is not won in the lottery, but made with our own hands. Then our children will not live in rigid stone labyrinths, but in oases of flourishing life, where technology serves the soul, not destroys it, where wealth is measured not by what you have, but by what you become.